It's Ronnie, and welcome to Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, round 18. And in this series, a whole month long one, we use sketches as inspiration. And this is the sketch that is my inspiration today. And I stuck pretty close to it. I mean, really close to it. I forgot about the stitching there, so it did not happen. But I think I have plenty on there. I'm going to scrap these 4 photos of my grandson Malachi, and I'm going to be using these dies. Yes, I told myself not to use dies unless they were already cut, but I did use them. I did not cut the gears, but they are Tim Holtz Mechanical. It's one of the big steel rule dies. And then I had those I pulled out. I thought I'd use one of the big titles, but none of them seemed to work, so I'm going to use one of the little words instead. I started putting my photo down, and I thought, oh, it cannot go first. But instead of having Malachi over at that edge on the other side and him facing the edge, I went ahead and I'm doing this opposite of what it is on the sketch. And he is, well, this is right after my surgery, and he came to visit, and first thing he wanted to know if I had snacks. And of course, I had snacks. I knew I was going to get visitors. I was at my daughter's house. And so, of course, he was eating. And I had gotten these dies for Christmas. And I think it's called Little Monsters. And they're so cute. And they have so many parts. I did not cut out near all of them. I did cut them out today, though. And I layered the eyes and the mouth in advance because there was just so many little pieces in that tray that I'll still take me a few minutes to put it together without having to put those together. Like the eyes have 4 layers. Anyway, I noticed he had a shirt on that had monsters, and I thought, oh my goodness, I can use my monster dies. When I got them, I thought they'll make a great birthday card for him especially. And so I asked it, I took a few pictures, and he kind of looked at me and I said, come and let me see your shirt. I want to take a picture of your shirt. Oh my goodness, it was right up there in my face practically. That's why there's no head on that photo. And I mean, I had to snap quick because he went turning, and I knew once he was gone, I wouldn't get him back for another photo. So I snapped it. So it's not the best picture of the shirt, but it worked. And I just went ahead and kept the other ones too. But it has 2 bodies. So I made 3 different colors. I didn't, it's 4 different colors, but 2 blues that are different shades. And so I'm going to turn one of them in opposite direction and make my little monster short and fat instead. Some of the eyes go on the face, head, body, whatever that is. But there was dies so you could have his eyes come above his head. So that's what I'm doing. And yeah, I was wishing for a nose there. And I thought I should have just got my punch and made one. It wouldn't have took a second. And so I'm still kind of thinking on that. But I love this mouth because its tongue's hanging out so long. But wouldn't it look cute with a nose on there? There was no noses on the dies. Them I could probably use on there since there are so many dies, though. I'm making the eyes go above on this one, but I'm going to make one of them go a lot higher than the other. Like one eye's looking down and the other one's looking straight ahead. Like they could go in 2 different directions. And this mouth has got teeth and the tongue hanging out, but it does not have the mouth open. A couple of the mouths I've got leftovers down there, as you can see. I used white cardstock and alcohol markers, and a couple I layered. And I'm going to have more than just that left over. I've got some ears. And like I said, I did not come close to die cutting everything. I was just trying several things to see how I liked them. And I didn't put the arms on because I wasn't sure how I wanted them to go. And I want to make sure I put them on a color that they'll show up better. And see that taller little guys there? but I'm going to change it and move the short fat one there because since he's going in the opposite direction, he looked a little cramped, so I'm going to move him up to the top. But here's my title. Like I said, those other ones weren't seeming to work. I couldn't find a place after I put the layout together, so I just decided to use the word roar because I thought monsters, I'm sure they roar. I Oh, and I'm going to point down to the word with one of his arms and then uh, put the other one on there. And they're kind of hard to do. You got to double check and make sure you got left and right. And I inked everything ahead of time. And I may not have inked all the arms on the right side. I am not sure. Because a couple of them I had to turtle this way and that to see if they were going to work. But this little guy up there at the top, I'm going to have him up in the air like jumping for joy. And the others, I'm going to fix them kind of like they're dancing. At least that was my thought in my head when I was doing them. And let's see. Oh, I didn't put the first guy on foam tape, but I am going to put, I think, all three of the others. But I thought I'd have one that wasn't with the foam tape. Like I said, die cuts are from the Tim Holtz Mechanical, and there's this pulley belt in there, and I thought, oh man, I think it's going to fit around the word, so of course I had to add it. And oh, and those do not stick. Another one of the ones that do not stick. I'm surprised they've stayed so long on the release paper that they're on. Well, I think it's plastic. I don't even think it's release paper. So that might be why they're still on there. I am trying to make it look like the rings are going in, their hands. And so I'm putting like the thumb and the fingers separately. Yeah, y'all might notice that in the close-ups, but then you might not. But I will. Um, this guy, I didn't put nothing underneath his eye because I'm going to put it over the photo just a little bit. He looked a little snug farther over. And I thought, well, there really isn't anything there to cover up in the photo, so I went ahead and moved him over a tiny bit. And there I started to use yellow, and of course, red is so much better right there. And uh, yeah, there's quite a few over there. I do dwindle them down this turnaround, but since it is a big steel roll die, it'll cut like 3 sets of, cuts at one time. So I usually have extra when I cut them out because I figure do it once and get a bunch and yeah, and just put them in a baggie. Um, oh, and like I said, this one's the one I'm going to have jumping in the air like he's jumping for joy. I mean, it might take me a second to decide that, but yeah. And he kind of moved there, and that's what made me decide it. I forgot about that until I seen it happen on the screen. But yeah, oh, he looks cute that way, like he is excited. And there is, I think it's oh, I need to make sure I put the sketch up there in the corner. I didn't do it, and it is so helpful when I'm doing the video. But there's like a banner or something there, so I thought, well, I can put something there. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm putting this first. However, I didn't like it. I put glue on everything and decided I don't like it, and I'll put something else, and my camera goes off. This is probably the longest video I've done since I started doing them, and I have done several. Uh, no, at this time when I did this, I had not done any video editing though, but I did record. I just wasn't ready to edit videos. But I did have a lot of fun, mostly just scrapping 15 minutes or so at a time. But this day I actually stayed the whole 30 minutes. That's why the camera went off. But yeah, it's the first time it happened because it's the first time my layout was that long. Uh, well, I did go earlier, several times and prep stuff. So yeah, what I did, they did take me actually longer, 30 minutes. But from the time I started recording, um, there's always off fall on the screws, and screws on the gears, and I always save it because, like I said before, I'm sure you've heard it, I think it makes great confetti. And I was rolling low, and then I thought, those eyeballs, there was plenty of eyeballs in there. I could get some eyeballs and add them to the layout. So that's what I'm doing. I dumped them in there, and I'm taking the roundest ones. Some of them aren't completely round, they're a little wobbly looking, but I'm taking the round ones and adding them here so that I can have a few more little circles to go on here. And I think once I get them added, I'll be done. No, I will have one more thing to do. But yeah, it's close to the end. But while I'm doing that, I want to mention that make sure you check out the playlist down there below, and you can see what everybody else is creatively doing with Nadine Michelle's sketch. And she is paper route scrapbooking here on YouTube. So make sure you check her out. And let's see. Oh, I am getting close to getting done there. But yeah, this is, I think, day 6, is it? I can't say 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. And oh, I think that's the last gear. So yeah, yeah, it is. See here. I went ahead and showed my layout like I always do, and then I thought, man, it needs something else. So I decided to make some uneven squiggly lines around my layout. And watching the video, I think they look like, it's probably because I put so many squiggly lines. It looks like barbed wire, and yeah, but I still like it going around there. And I'm using blue instead of black. I started to get the black out, and I thought, oh, I think blue will work. But yeah, that's it. That's my layout. And my little monsters. All 4, well, counting Malachi, 5. Now, he's a really good kid. And he's gonna love this. I There's the completed layout, and as you can see, um, I did do it pretty much, other than going the opposite direction because of the photos, just like she did, except of course I added more, which is great about sketches. You almost always can add more. And oh, I forgot to mention there's little holes in the toes of the feet, so you can put white paper behind it for highlights. And while I was doing the layout, I forgot to highlight. And then once I was editing the video, I noticed there was no highlights. So I went back in there and highlighted everything and took the photos again. But yeah, gonna look a lot better with the highlights on there. I think it adds so much character to the little characters. uh, I I didn't know I was going to say that word twice till it was coming out of my mouth. But yeah, and I went ahead and did the gears and everything too, so I'd have plenty of highlights on here. But I want to thank you all so very, very much for taking the time to watch my video. I know there's plenty out there that you can watch, especially on this playlist down here. And I hope you have a happy, scrappy day. Bye.